I hope you're having a tremendous day. Now let's get into it. The Urban Paraphrase.
John chapter 19. Then Governor Pilate told his soldiers to give Jesus a good old-fashioned smackdown. So they braided up some thorns like it was a king's crown and put it on top of Jesus' head. They threw a purple-colored robe on him too. And then they commenced to slapping him around over and over again. Talking about some, turn up, this dude right here, the Jewish people's king. Then they rabbed back and smacked him some more. Then Pilate headed back outside to chop it up with the people again. He was like, yo, just for the record, I'm bringing Jesus back out here to let y'all know I ain't got nothing on him. Real talk, in my opinion, this dude innocent. Then Jesus made his way back outside, still sporting a purple robe and thorn-braided crown. And Governor Pilate was like, here you go. But when the high-ranking church leaders and church security guards saw him, they started yelling, nail him on the cross and kill him dead. But Pilate was like, y'all do it. Y'all kill him your doggone self. Cause like I said, I ain't got nothing on this dude. Then the Jewish people was like, sir, we got rules. And according to those rules, dude gotta die. He out here talking about he God's son. And when the governor heard that, low-key, he started shaking in his boots even more. Then he headed back inside to talk to Jesus one more again. He was like, fam, where you from? But Jesus ain't say nothing. Then Pilate was like, oh, okay, you all talked out, huh? Now you know I'm the only one who can cut you loose or have you killed, right? But Jesus was like, yo, man, don't get it twisted. The only reason you even got a little power over you right now is because the one above gave it to you. And be clear, the one who brought me to you is more guilty than everybody, the biggest mark misser. After that, Governor Pilate started trying to think of anything he could to get Jesus off the hot seat. But the Jewish people wasn't having it. They just kept on screaming at him, talking about, Governor, if you fool around and let this man go free, you and King Caesar ain't gonna be cool no more. Cause anybody out here claiming to be king is low-key disrespecting King Caesar, on period. When the governor heard that, he brought Jesus back outside. Then he stepped up to the platform and took a seat. He sat down in his decision-making chair, AKA the stone pavement, AKA Gabbatha. At this point, it was about 12 p.m. on Friday, the day the Jewish people were supposed to be getting everything prepared for the Passover holiday. Then Pilate looked at the people and was like, aight, here go y'all's king. But they screamed out, yo, get that dude out of here. Nail him to the cross and kill him dead already. Then Pilate was like, so y'all really want me to kill y'all king? But the high-ranking church leaders was like, we ain't got no king other than King Caesar. Then Governor Pilate went on and gave the orders to hang Jesus up and kill him, because that's what the people wanted. So the soldiers went and got it cracking. Verse 17. Jesus carried his own cross to the so-called skull place, aka Golgotha Hill. There was two other dudes out there being killed right along with him on the same day. But Jesus' cross was smack dab in the middle of both of them. And Pilate, old shade himself, had a sign made and hung it on top of Jesus' cross. The sign was like, this right here is Jesus, the Nazarene, the Jewish people's king. Matter of fact, Governor Pilate had that phrase written out in 3 different languages, in Hebrew, Latin, and Greek. And a bunch of Jewish people passed by and read it, because the skull place was right next to the city. The high-ranking church leaders was like, Governor Pilate, don't write that this guy is the Jewish people's king. If you're gonna write something, write that he said he was the Jewish people's king. But Pilate was like, I wrote what I wrote, now move around. When the soldiers had nailed Jesus up there good, they took his clothes and divided them between the 4 of them. They even took his onesie. They was like, don't rip it, bro. Let's just flip first and see which one of us should get it. It was a nice one. But low-key, they was doing to a T what the sacred journal said they was gonna do. They divided and gambled for my clothes. And that's exactly what the soldiers was doing. Verse 25. Jesus' mama, his auntie, Mary, I'm talking about Clopas' wife, and the other Mary from Magdala was all standing next to the cross where Jesus was hanging. When Jesus saw his mama and the student he had love for standing next to the cross, he caught eyes with his mama and was like, lady, that right there is your son now. And that was the exact day that the student took Jesus' mom home with him. After that, Jesus knew he had done everything that needed to be done, and the sacred journals was complete to the nth degree. Then he was like, I'm thirsty. There was a jar of cheap sour wine out there that they used for painkiller. So somebody soaked some of it up with a sponge and tied the sponge to a hyssop stalk and lifted it up to Jesus' mouth. After Jesus got the wine, he was like, it's done. Then he dropped his head and handed his last breath over. Since it was Friday, the day the Jews were supposed to be getting everything ready for the Passover holiday that was going to take place the next day, they didn't want no dead bodies still hanging on the cross on Saturday. So the people asked Governor Pilate to break the fellas' legs and dispose of their bodies. So the soldiers went and broke the dude's legs that were hanging next to Jesus. But they saw Jesus was already dead, so wasn't no need to break his legs. But one of the soldiers did shank him in the side though, and all of a sudden some blood and water gushed out of it. The one who saw how it all went down is the one who gave the report. So you can believe it. Ain't no gaslighting, these straight facts. It happened the way it happened. So what the OGs wrote in the sacred journals would be executed to the T. They said, now bone in his body is gonna be broken. And sure enough, none of them was. The sacred journals also said, people gonna look at the one they shanked. And they did. Verse 38. After all that happened, a dude from Arimathea named Joseph, quiet as kept, was one of Jesus' students too. But he was always too scared to let the people know who he was rocking with. Anyway, he asked Governor Pilate if he could take Jesus' body, and Pilate was cool with it. Then old Nicodemus, you know, the frat dude that came to see Jesus that one night on the DL, came through with 75 pounds of ointments and smell goods. And as the Jewish tradition would have it, they took Jesus' dead body and wrapped it in linen strips, along with the smell goods. There was this little garden with a brand new tomb right next to the place where Jesus was hung up and murdered. Nobody had ever used it before. So they put Jesus in there. Because for one thing, it was close, and because it was Friday, and they were supposed to be getting everything ready so they could chill for Passover holiday, which was the very next day, Saturday.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up with the latest devotional content.